Hello, everyone. Welcome to Locked In. I'm Luis.
And I'm Tony.
Okay, today we're going to be doing an interview. Tony's going to interview me.
Okay. So, Luis, I'm curious. You're the first young person your age I know that's doing this. I'm curious about, why you got into this or how you got into this.
Well, for me, I started podcasting after I did it for my journalism class senior year. We had a podcast project, and it really infatuated me. I looked into podcasts more. I found ones that I liked. I listened to them, and then it just took off. I thought, with quarantine going on, why wouldn't I try my own podcast? So I got some friends together. We recorded a couple episodes, and that was it. But over time, I thought about it being a personal project of mine. So now it's something I do with either one other person or just myself.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you said you did some investigating of other people's podcasts?
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of other ones that I like, and I still listen to them occasionally.
Uh-huh.
I like interview-style podcasts or just general discussion. They're really interesting, or even those crime podcasts. I like those a lot because they have a sense of mystery to go along with them. So I think they're pretty interesting.
Nice. Is there one that you aspire to that you could look at and say, yeah, when I get good, that's what I want it to be?
Yeah, there's this actor I like. His name is Michael Rosenbaum. He's a phenomenal actor, but he does a podcast, and he'll interview other celebrities. I love his work because it sounds so natural, even though it's a type of interview. I think the way he does it, and the celebrities he gets, they're very interesting, and they break stuff down that you wouldn't really expect from a celebrity. They tell you secrets that they're not really supposed to say when they're under contracts, about movie roles they didn't like. It makes them human in a sense that you wouldn't really see on the big screen.
Uh-huh. Well, you know what you just opened the door for, right?
What did I open the door
Is
for?
there a secret you would like to reveal in this podcast about you that you have not before?
No, there's no secrets I'm keeping. I don't have a dark past.
No dark past?
No movie role I've hated before.
Oh, jeez. Has there ever been a role that you did enjoy? Is there one part of your life that you either resented or just tried to quickly get over with? I mean, for some people it's school, for some people it's a job, some people it's their family. Has there been one role that you've had to play that you're like, oh, thank God that's over? Or
Well, I guess I've done this multiple times, but public speaking, it was always dreadful to me. I would hate when I was forced to speak publicly. But then, I had a class where it was mandatory basically every month to speak publicly in front of the class, but it was only 7 kids. Didn't really make me feel that nervous, so I kind of overcame that. And once it was over, I was like, I learned a lot about publicly speaking, so it helped me grow as a person. And now I feel more confident in the way I talk in general.
wow. So how'd you end up if it's something that was kind of like a phobia of yours, how'd you end up in a public speaking course?
Well, it was an AP class, and my teacher recommended it because I had tried for another AP course, but I didn't fail the test. They just denied my request. She's like, Luis, I want you to try out for this class. So I was like, okay, let me try that. Little did I know I had to present so much. It was kind of something I got told the first day of the actual course. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh man, that's going to suck because I genuinely didn't like presenting. But then, I had these people in my class were very compassionate, nice people, very encouraging kids. And we would all work together in group projects, or we would talk about the teacher, how much we didn't like him. But he was a great teacher. Certain things about him were just too much for us to handle. So I ended up just overcoming it slowly.
Uh-huh.
But I felt very nervous when I was actually presenting. But I tried to play it off, and my friends told me I did well. So I felt good. It wasn't like I purposely signed up. I wasn't like, yeah, I'm going to do this to myself. I hate publicly speaking. Let me get this over with.
What were maybe there was one subject, maybe there was a range of subjects, was a whole grouping of subjects that you found easiest? Was there one area of high school where you're like, I got this nailed?
Yeah, I've always been good at writing. That's kind of my passion. I like writing a lot. Ever since I was like 10, I always liked writing. I used to write little journals of stories as a kid. They're dumb now. I still have them, but they're just dumb stories from my childhood, superheroes I would make up and stuff. But I always had a fondness for writing, and then I wanted to be an author. And realistically, I was like, no, an author doesn't make that much money that if I was an author, I wouldn't be able to live stably because it's based on books, the books you sell. So I thought, all right, let me be a journalist. That sounds like a better and, more consistent job. And that's really where my life has been heading. You know, I'm going to college for communications and media, which opens up a lot of doors because I could be a news reporter or a journalist for a news company and like work my way up in the industry. So I thought about it like that. But subjects I struggled in, I was never good at math. Quite frankly, that's my weakest subject. I liked science. I liked earth science a lot. History was never difficult either, but math was where I struggled the most.
So those books you wrote when you were young, have you saved them?
Yeah, I have 4 books, and I wrote about 20 pages per book. But I was young, so I figured that was a lot. Each page would be a chapter to me. So they're 20 chapter books, but they were all about a page and a half.
Okay.
And the grammar was horrible. Looking back at it now, I kind of cringe a little bit. I'm like, geez, I really wrote this on a piece of paper. But the characters I created really hold the sentimental area in my heart that it's like, you know, it's my childhood right there.
Yeah.
So
So you save them for your own looking back?
Yeah.
Or you hope to do something with them
if I
someday?
become a successful, like, let's say, journalist or something, or, you know, something with news, I could think, okay, this is where I started, you know? Keep it at my house. It's just it's a nice memory of what I wanted to be before and what I am going to be now. Or I guess as I get older.
Okay, so you don't have a dream of turning them into screenplays someday, or?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know, because I wouldn't say it's too far-fetched, because I don't know what comes next. I could be a screenwriter, and then I could make that into, like, a movie.
Yeah.
And then one day I'll be like, huh, those books from 5th grade really did something for me.
5th grade is a pretty cool year.
Yeah.
Cool year. You mentioned authors. You thought about being one?
I did. I thought about it as a kid, but I was young, 10 years old. I didn't know much about the world, let's be realistic. Half my life I didn't even remember by then, but yeah, I did want to be an author. I thought these books were amazing, but it's like, they're not. But I did a little bit of writing of another character I wrote, and that was in, I want to say 8th grade, and I think even, I'm looking back at it now, I still have like the files. I didn't write this one in a book, I typed it up on a document, and I like this character more. So if I ever had the choice to write a book, it'd be about the character I refined as an adult. Adult, loosely, because I was still like 16.
I'm imagining you don't want to reveal that character now. You want to
I mean, yeah, but it was more like, at the time I was into different types of video games, so I would take aspects of each of the characters I liked, mix them up. But it was basically just a superhero. You're stereotypical. I guess not stereotypical, because I made the character unique enough that I thought it'd be different. But I called him the Gray Ghost, and that was like his name. And he would use like different abilities that I don't really want to get into, because it sounds kind of nerdy, but I think if I had the chance, I would refine that character into something that could be a good piece of literature.
Nice.
Yep.
So you said you admired the work of different authors?
Yeah, I like authors. You know, well, now that I'm older, I like horror a lot more. So I like Stephen King's books a lot. I had recently read The Green Mile, and I watched the movie too. I like comparing his movies to his books because some of them are spot on, and then some of them are very, very loosely based, and they only slap the titles on for money. But I like Stephen King. I used to like, what's his name? I used to like Harry Potter books, but not like obsessed. I just liked the books, and they were interesting when I was a kid. I also liked the movies. But yeah, an author isn't the goal that I would see myself doing anymore. But maybe as like a side job, or when I settle down, you know, maybe as an adult in my 40s, I'll write a book. But who knows?
Yeah, you're still really young. You've got everything wide open for you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's my first year of college anyway, so.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It is.
Exciting. Hey, you once turned me on to a Bill Murray movie.
Yeah.
And talk to me a little bit about what makes you laugh.
Um,
Like, who do you find funny? I'm imagining Bill Murray's one of them.
yeah, Bill Murray's hilarious to me. I like Tom Hanks a lot. I like all his movies. I like Toy Story as a kid. I never knew who Tom Hanks was because I was a kid. I didn't really know actors. But I liked him in Castaway. I thought he was really, really funny. I like Jim Carrey. I like Me, Myself, and Irene. That's a pretty funny movie. I like Adam Sandler's earlier work. I don't really like him now because I think he's a little dry. And then, I don't know. I like Robin Williams. He was a very, very funny actor and a very big inspiration just in general to me because I thought, you know, somebody who was so quietly depressed was such a happy person up front. I mean, I'm not a depressed person, but just to see someone like that, it shows that people are real, you know? He was a real person with real struggles, and he still continued to be an actor for a long time.
Yeah. So it sounds like you enjoy comic actors maybe more than stand-up comics.
Yeah, I don't really like stand-up comedy all that much. I mean, I like certain stand-up comics, like George Lopez or Gabriel Iglesias. They're pretty funny people to me, but it's like certain jokes that get me. I also liked Richard Pryor and George Carlin. They're a little older than me, but I like their work. And Robin Williams was a stand-up comic too, so I liked him.
He was. He did a little of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you consider acting as a possibility for yourself?
I mean, I did act once, multiple times actually. I did an actual movie in 5th grade. It was like a film. A film producer came into our school, and he's like, "I need some kids," not like in a weird way, but he was like, "I need kids for a movie. Okay, let's have auditions." And I was one of the, I think, 6 kids, but I had one of the most minuscule roles in the entire movie. I wasn't the main character, and I wasn't the second main character, and there was 5 of us. So I was one of the background characters, but I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I don't even think it's up anymore. I remember seeing it on YouTube, like 5th grade.
You mind saying what it was?
I don't remember the name of the movie.
Seriously?
Like, seriously, I don't. It's just something I remember doing.
So it was not memorable. You did not make thousands
No,
of dollars.
I'm pretty sure I was just in the background for a couple shots, and that was my whole
You had no lines?
debut. I don't think I said a word. I kind of just stood there, but I stood there well enough to get the role. So
Good for you.
I also remember auditioning for the main, because it was like a bullying movie, and you could audition for the bully or the bully, the person who would get bullied. I remember auditioning for the bully. We had to like hold up a piece of paper and be like, "You want this? You can't have it." Something like that. I didn't do good because I don't think I'm an intimidated person. So
Okay, so you were one of the bullied.
I guess I just genuinely don't remember. I might have just been a character who walked in the background for all I remember.
Speaking in front of people, been a little bit of a challenge for you, yet
Yeah.
you auditioned for a movie.
Well, that was
Talk
when
about
fear.
that.
That's when fear wasn't relevant to me. I was a kid. I was just like acting. I wanted to try that. I like movies, but as I got older, I learned that things are scary. I'm scared of reasonable things.
Like, what gets you scared?
I'm scared of bees. I genuinely don't like bees. Not like if they like look at me, I'm gonna scream. But I don't like getting stung. I've never gotten stung, but the fear of getting stung kind of scares me. I don't do well with that much kind of pain.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you've never been stung,
Nope.
but you've got this real deep fear of
Yeah,
it.
because I don't want it to happen. I know it's gonna hurt a lot, and I don't want that to happen. So
Well,
I
how
try
did
to
you
avoid
handle
it.
vaccinations as a kid?
That's perfectly fine with me. I think bee stings are a little more severe because their stingers are in you, and it's constant pain till it's out. So it's not like the needle it constantly hurts me for hours. It's like 1 second and I'm done. So I think I'm fine with needles, but other than that, I'm not really scared of that many things. I like horror movies, so that type of stuff doesn't scare me.
How do you approach horror movies? I mean, I don't like them personally.
I think they're
I
an
feel I have
un-
enough stress in my life. I don't need that. But what do you enjoy about them?
I just think they're underrated art. And this was as I got older. As a kid, I was terrified of scary movies. But I remember I was like 13, and I went over to my grandma's house, and my aunt and my cousins were there. And they're like, "We're going to watch a movie." And I was like, "All right." It's a scary movie. And I remember calling my parents, asking for permission to watch this movie. And they were like, "It's fine. I think you can handle this one." And it was called Final Destination. But I watched the 5th one first. So I was so confused because there was somewhat of continuity in the movies. And I was like, I'm watching the 5th movie? And I was like, what? But I liked it a lot. And then I wasn't really scared of movies anymore. But I didn't really do anything with that. I just was like, all right, I can watch a scary movie if I want. I won't be scared. But then in freshman year of high school, I discovered a YouTube channel that I like. His name is Dead Meat. He does film analysis of horror movies. And the way he analyzes the movies, I like a lot because he'll show like the making of the movie, like the production, the special effects, and it made me appreciate all those things because a lot of work goes into all of these things for one type of movie that a lot of people don't realize. They just consider them gory mess movies, and I don't think that's true. So I've gotten used to watching movies, and I've seen a lot, and I have a fondness for the characters and the actors who play them because they don't get a lot of appreciation. You think about it, like the Grammys, the Emmys, they highlight mainline movies, but horror hardly gets any acknowledgement.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So you seem like to be, like to stand up for the underdogs, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, even with another thing, I like pit bulls, and those are a type of dog that are very, very feared by people. They're, I guess they would be considered like the lower, like, totem pole of dogs. You know, they're at the bottom. If, you know, you ask common people, they're like, they're scared of these animals.
Right.
And I, like, defend them because it doesn't really depend on the dog. It's about the person who raises the dog. And that can be said for everything.
So I see a theme here.
Yeah, I stick up for the underdog. Horror movies and pit bulls. Those are my
There you
thing.
go. But it's what people fear.
Yeah.
And so you've been able to confront what people are afraid of.
Yep.
And see that there's no reason to.
Yeah, and I overcame my fear of horror movies. I used to genuinely be terrified of anything that came on the TV that was remotely scary. I used to be scared of the Halloween stores. I wouldn't be able to walk in because of the mannequins and stuff. I got over that. And then pit bulls, I was never scared of them. I grew up with dogs like that. So it kind of gave me a special connection with those type of dogs. That if somebody says something negative about them, I kind of get offended and I get angry. Not like to like a scream in your face kind of thing, but I get mildly upset and I educate people. I went to the soup kitchen a couple months ago and I was talking to this girl about animals. She's like, oh, I have a little Shih Tzu. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I had a pit bull as a kid. And she's like, why? They're vicious. And I looked at her and I said, are you kidding me? And all I remember was educating her enough that she didn't talk to me the entire time. I
Well,
left her
she had a very
speechless.
vulnerable, tiny little dog.
Yeah, but that just seems so
Was she
messed up.
afraid you were going to bring your pit bull to work?
I,
one day?
apparently so, but
So other than bees, is there a fear that you haven't confronted yet?
I don't. Okay, I'm like mildly scared of water. Not like water rides at like an amusement park, but like swimming in the ocean kind of terrifies me.
Oh, not showers or bathtubs.
No, I can handle like the rain. I'm not petrified of falling rain. But I don't know, because then it's weird because the ocean fascinates me in a certain way because it's the same thing with space. I think it'd be scary going up there, you know, in space or going down into water. But if I got to see it, I think I'd enjoy it. I think scuba diving is cool. I've never done it. My parents have, you know, lucky them. But they said it was an interesting experience, and it just fascinates me. You know, animals in general are just interesting. And then space has a lot of things that we don't understand.
Not many animals in space, though.
Nope. Just a couple of dogs and monkeys, but
So do you have a range of possible pets for you to have?
yeah, I thought about it a lot. I mean, I have a couple birds now. We have 4 birds and a turtle, and then I grew up with dogs. So I feel like depending on my, you know, apartment or house situation in a couple of years, it'll affect what animal I get. Because if it's an apartment, I can get a bird. If it's a house, I might as well get a dog. But I've also had like lizards, and I like them. I had fish, but that's a little less. They don't have a longer lifespan than most animals. So a fish doesn't feel like an animal that I should get and invest money into if they're going to die in a couple months.
Is that the longest you ever had a fish live on you?
Nope, I had a fish for 5 years.
One fish lived for 5 years?
Yeah, unless my parents replaced it multiple times, but I doubt it because it always looked the same to me.
That's funny that you considered that there was a possibility of that.
They could have. I mean, I wouldn't hold it against them because I remember when I was really young, I had this one fish called Sharky, and it would die like every week, and we would go get another one. And I remembered getting other ones, but this one was a beta fish. I named him Mario because he was red and blue.
Okay.
So I kept him, I think, for 5 years. To be honest, I don't even remember.
Or your parents could have replaced him like 27 times.
Yeah, and I just didn't know. They were just like, all right, after 5 years, we're done replacing this fish.
Yeah, there's a lot of replacement going on. Do you eat fish?
I like fish occasionally. It's not really a food that me and my family eat because my dad just doesn't like fish. So what's the point of making one protein if we have to make another one, you know? I don't like my mom doing that. I don't ask for fish. If we eat it, it's occasional. But I do enjoy it. I like salmon and tilapia. And I know a lot about food. I've been watching cooking shows. I like MasterChef. So the things I'm absorbing about food kind of reflect what I've been eating. Not like I make my mom cook in a certain way. I'm not like, this is not MasterChef material. Get this out of my face. It's just that I understand food more and I like appreciate it in a different way. Like I'll compliment my mom on the way she cooked the steak. I'm like, I like how it's like, you know, crispy on the top, smooth on the inside or something like that. Or when we eat mashed potatoes, I'll compliment like the texture.
Yeah.
So it's just something I picked up. And then when I go to restaurants, I'll notice the items on the menu and I'll understand, okay, this is prepared like this. I don't know if I'm going to like it like that. Because before I would just get simple things, you know, or the things that I like. But now I'm looking at the menu and I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. I know what kind of texture I'm going to expect and what kind of flavors I'm going to get. So
Wow, you got the cooking thing down.
I don't even cook. That's the thing.
You just have a food thing down.
Yeah, I learned a lot. It's
About
just,
food.
yeah. I mean, my parents are very, very good cooks, and I watch them sometimes. The way they cook food is amazing. But me personally, I don't cook.
You just eat.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me a couple of your favorite restaurants or restaurant chains, and what's the best thing that they have to eat?
Oh, that's difficult. Well, I like burgers, hamburgers, a lot. So I like a diner burger, like a good diner. If they serve me a burger that's well prepared and has good toppings and things. I'm a bit extreme when it comes to hamburgers. I like burgers with like a fried egg on top or ham, pulled pork, whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've had a lot of different experiences with hamburgers.
So the burger by itself doesn't work for you. You
Nope.
gotta-
I mean, I eat them. You know, I like hamburgers with onions and lettuce and tomato. But if I'm going out to a restaurant, I'm not just going to get a cheeseburger. I'll get a cheeseburger with caramelized onions, which are something that I really like on burgers. I think the texture is good and the flavors go well with a hamburger. But I always have to put ketchup. I can't eat a burger without ketchup. Or cheese, to be
Really?
honest.
How many things do you put ketchup on?
I don't put ketchup on my french fries.
You don't?
Not anymore. I just don't like it. I like french fries like that. Just plain with like
You don't
salt.
put anything on them.
Nope. I guess barbecue sauce. If I have to choose a condiment, I'll pick barbecue sauce. A friend of mine likes french fries with barbecue sauce, and I tried it one day, and I was like, huh, that tastes better than ketchup. But I put ketchup on my pizza, like plain pizza
Yeah.
or pepperoni pizza, because I think it tastes good. But that's like tomato sauce, essentially.
Wow. You know, you're a pretty unique person
Yeah, I don't think most people put ketchup on their pizza.
in a lot of different, not just because of that, but a lot of things you're revealing here. What would you say if someone really knew all the facts there is about you? What would be like the 2 or 3 things that would make someone say like, you're just weird or you're really different? What are your most totally unique things? 2 or 3.
I mean, I bring it up a lot, but I've done archery before, and that's not something you can just guess off of somebody's appearance. You can't just be like, yep, that person over there, he does archery. So that's something I like to tell people. The types of animals I have are interesting. I have a sun conure, which is not a very common type of bird. He's classified as an exotic animal. And I can't really think of a third thing, but
What attracted you to that bird? Like, what made you feel like, oh, I gotta have that one?
well, actually, it wasn't me. It was more so my sister. I honestly wanted a bird just because I thought it was interesting at that time. Before we got our sun conure, we had 2 parakeets, and we got them because all we had at the time was a turtle. We still have him. He's fine. But I was like, Dad, do you think we can get a bird? And he was like, you know what? Yeah, we can get a parakeet. We got 2 parakeets, and they lived with us. Then a year later, between that year, right, my sister got more connected to birds. So that's like her specialty. And we went to a bird store in New Jersey, and they had a very beautiful birds, and they had little sun conures. And we were like, wow, those are very nice birds. We like the colors because they're orange and green and yellow, and they're very beautiful birds. They had none in like stock, essentially. They were like, oh yeah, these 2 are sold, but we have babies in the back. And they had baby sun conures there. And we were like, wow, those are very nice birds. They're like, if you want one, you can put it on hold, and once it's old enough, we'll be able to give it to you. And that took 3 months. And we were like, okay, we'll keep one, and we kept one. And then it took 3 months for us to get him back. We took my grandma, because she loves birds. She has a parrot, so we took her with us. We picked up our bird, and we went back home. We named him Skittles because of all the colors he is, and we've had him for 3 years already. He's a very, very passionate little bird.
Wow. So I don't know anybody with a bird. What makes a family get into birds the way you have? Your grandmother, your parents, your sister, you?
Yeah.
Like, is there something that, you know, or is it just it happens?
No, it was definitely that my dad's mom, right, my grandma, my dad too, as they grew up, they lived in Guatemala, right? They didn't live here. And then my dad said his grandma had a very, very large room full of all types of birds. Toucans, conures, parrots, you name it, she had it. And he grew up with those birds. My grandma also grew up with those birds. So she would own some, and then she came over here with my dad, and she had a bunch of birds. She had some cocktails, finches, and then her big parrot. But then she had some of them ended up passing away, and then one she gave to my friend, and he still has it. It's a very, very nice cockatiel. And it lives with 2 other ones. So he has them, and my grandma still has her parrot. So that's pretty much where the connection came from. And then my sister is very connected to all our animals. I am too, but that's more her thing.
Speaking of Guatemala, if you were gonna spend your adult life in another country besides the United States, do you have one that
Yeah.
you'd like to visit?
I think
or
it'd be
you'd
two.
Like to live in, not just visit, but live in.
I think it would be two. I'd either pick Guatemala because my dad describes this place as such an interesting and fun experience for him as a kid. The joy I see it in his face when he talks about it. He seems very happy when he reminisces about these memories. And then Colombia, that's where my mom's from. When her mom talks about Colombia, I could also see the passion and love for that place that she had as a kid. And whenever she reminisces, I can see it in her face that she's happy that she's from there and the memories she holds from there. So I think either Colombia or Guatemala are places I'd like to live if I had to pick outside the country.
Right. And that's because you've seen the love and the passion of people for those
Yeah,
places
you can't
and their
fake that
memories.
kind of compassion for areas like that.
Yeah. Do you have passion for where you live now?
I guess,
Do
it's
you think
just,
you'll be that adult someday that'll look back on your days in Neuro and just say, oh, boy, do we have a life?
I mean, things are interesting, just in general, a lot of things have happened in this community that are, can be seen as atrocities or just sad moments. But I think compared to other places, I'm relatively okay living here. I appreciate my home. I like living with my parents and my sister. And then New Rochelle as a whole is not a bad place to live. I have family here anyway, so it doesn't really change much.
This is a city, but it's not hardcore city.
No.
Where do you see yourself living? Rural, suburban, urban? And why?
I feel like rural or suburban because rural doesn't seem like a very appealing type of lifestyle for me as an adult. But that could all change. I might really want to live in the city as an adult, or I might want to live upstate in like the woods. But that's just for me to find out as I get older. Because I'm comfortable living here. I like living in a quiet neighborhood, relatively quiet neighborhood. And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with New Rochelle, even though other people might think otherwise.
What woods experiences have you had?
Well, there's a lake house my mom's family has, and we go up there in the summer, and it's a very woodsy kind of place. The technology service kind of sucks, so I kind of disregard my phone anyway. And we do a lot of fun stuff. I genuinely enjoy my time there. It's a lot of family bonding, because it's usually me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, and my cousins. So we're all there. We have like a boat, and we take a boat out into like a big lake. We go swimming in the lake. We go walking around the woods. And there's a nice open area where you can see stars in the back of the house. It's really enjoyable. We have a big movie projector, so if you want to watch a movie, we can watch it. Animals run by in the night, but it's something else. I really do enjoy it.
You seem to be the kind of person that enjoys life, period.
I do.
What pisses you off? if
Well,
anything?
yeah, I mean, there are some things that kind of tick me off. I noticed as I got older, there's a lot of negativity in the world. It's a sad reality that I had to face, but there's just negative people. There's just toxic and nasty people, and it's hard to deal with. You get frustrated sometimes, but I don't like people who intentionally want to make other people feel bad. There's a concept called cancel culture. I don't know if
Absolutely.
you know what it is. I don't like that as a whole. I think it's a very bad thing for people to do because they go on like a mission to purposely sabotage somebody's life.
Right.
And I just think that's horrible because I think everybody deserves to live a happy life. Even if they did something bad, it's like mildly bad things. Cancel culture is always just a really radical thing to do,
It's ugly.
in my opinion.
It's very ugly. I agree with you completely.
I can't think of really anything else that kind of bothers me. I suppose ignorant people, but that's just situational. Because if I guess people who lack common sense in certain aspects, because when I volunteered at the soup kitchen, there would be people that kind of irritated me because they lacked complete common sense. Because I would stand there and they wouldn't give me any of like the bread that they were supposed to grab themselves, and they would watch me put it in the plate instead of them doing it on their own. So it kind of bothered me. But I like to keep my cool. I don't really like confrontation. Not that I'm incapable of having an argument with somebody. Like, I can snap back if I wanted to, because that's like self-defense. But it's just something I avoid.
You've mentioned a couple of times what you kind of describe as a food
Soup kitchen, yeah.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that experience. Like, what got you into that, and why you continue to do it, and what do you get out of it? What do you give to it?
All right. Well, I signed up. Well, signed up wouldn't be the right word. I began going to the soup kitchen to volunteer last year in October because my mom was like, "This is gonna look really good for college. Also, you can help out the community." And I was like, "All right, I'll go one day and I'll see how I like it." I ended up going, and I think that changed my life in a way I didn't expect. I felt so happy to be there and so appreciated. Not that I don't feel appreciated at home or anything. I genuinely feel happy everywhere I am. But that feeling of satisfaction of helping somebody was something I had never felt before. I've had jobs before, but when I help people there, it's like I have to. You know, it's like they're obligated to say thank you because I'm helping them. But there, these people are just there to get food. They don't have to thank me. They can just take their food and not say a word. But I would go and I would help. And the first day I went, it wasn't too bad. It was very simple instructions. They were just like, stand here, take the trays of food, serve them, and take them out. And then I kept going consistently because I didn't have a job. So that's basically what I did every week. I would go and I formed connections with these people, either the people who were eating there or the other volunteers who were a lot older than me. They had to be they're in their 50s, but they were very nice to me. They would call me the number one volunteer because I went so consistently and that I would help so much. Because I would do above and beyond more than my tasks. I would take all the trays and put them on the table, even though that wasn't my job. I would serve the food and also take out the trays. I would serve soup for the people, like when they actually had soup, because it wasn't all the time. You would think for a soup kitchen, but they don't. I would sweep because a lot of people would leave when it's time to clean. It was about a 2-hour process. And people would leave after an hour and a half because they didn't want to clean. So I would sweep up with a couple other people the whole area, like the dining area. And it really taught me like the real satisfaction of helping people. It was just something I didn't expect to learn from a place like that because I never thought I would go.
Yeah.
And then it just made me feel good. And it made me realize helping people is really nice. And personally, it makes me feel happy.
Well, that says a lot about you. I don't meet a lot of young people that have the same passion.
Yeah, I met a lot of people there, and they would just go for very selfish reasons. There would be a lot of girls or guys going just because they needed for college. They needed certain hours a week for a course they were taking or a program they were in. And then they would never come back. They would go for two days because they only needed 4 hours, and then they would never come back. So it was really hard for me to make friends, but that wasn't the reason I went.
Right.
I didn't go to socialize. I went to help people. And the people that were eating there would like talk to me. They liked me, and they would like communicate with me, thank me a lot. So I genuinely enjoyed my experience there. I was sad it closed down because of COVID because I never really got any closure. I kind of just wasn't able to go back one day. I really wanted to thank everybody because I was figured I'd be there till like summer and then college would start. And then at that point I could thank everyone individually. And then, you know, tell them if they ever needed me, they could call me at this number because I don't know, it's not open anymore. But once it opens up again, I wouldn't be able to know.
Yeah. Well, if you were a super volunteer, I'm sure they'll find a way to get a hold of you.
Hopefully. I hope they didn't forget.
You said you were kind of disappointed to see that some of your peers were just doing it to get something out of it.
Yeah.
How would you describe the strengths and weaknesses of your generation?
I think that personally, I don't think I'm like everybody else, so I can't really speak for our generation as a whole. But from experiences, I've seen people be very selfish, very self-centered, and very nasty to one another. There's been instances where you don't have to be toxic to people, but you choose to, and it just makes things worse. Or selfish things, like I said, the people who went to the soup kitchen, just for their hours and not to help people, it felt artificial.
Yeah.
Their attitudes and personalities felt like unnatural to me. Like they didn't feel genuine when they went.
Where do you think that comes from?
I just think it's from, for the soup kitchen kind of thing, I just think it's that these people put themselves on a higher pedestal. They see the people that they're serving as lesser. And I don't see that. I just see them as people. And that's what a lot of people don't do. You think you have a higher image of yourself, so you see everyone as less. And that leads to a lot of unnecessary toxic activity in like society and stuff.
Were you raised that way, or did you pull that from inside?
Well, my parents are very, very compassionate and nice people. So they taught me a lot of ideals that kind of stuck with me. And it's not just my parents, you know. I have my grandparents who are very compassionate people. You know, my grandpa really taught me a lot about caring for people. Whenever he walks into like a restaurant, he'll say hi to everybody individually. And even if they don't respond, he's just happy to see people and greet people. He's just a compassionate person. So I took those ideals from people in my family, and I kind of ran with them.
Good for you. So where are you running to?
As like a future,
What's next for you? Right now you're in college.
yeah.
And you're working on these podcasts.
Yeah.
And anything on the near horizon?
I don't think so. I think just doing what I'm doing now, every so often recording an episode and uploading it in my free time, because I don't see this as a career. I see this as a hobby that could maybe turn into something someday, but I'm not too sure what comes next. So I appreciate you for being here, Tony. Thank you for interviewing me today.
Well, my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
It was a fun experience, and I hope we can do this again.
I hope so too. You're an interesting dude.
Thank you all for listening. Goodbye.